one way to not be like distraught or like, oh, like this is too much. Like I can barely take care of myself. Is just to remember that you were chosen. You know what I'm saying? You were really chosen for this person. You were really chosen, and it's meant to be. It's not on accident. And like when you accept that, things will unfold magically.
Small doses, self-help from the hip. Small doses, we're talking that shit. Small doses, and keeping it real. Small doses, with me and Instilling. It's so funky.
Welcome to another episode of Small Doses Podcast. The impeccably braided head to my left.
Yes.
Because, did you get it braided this morning?
No, I didn't actually.
What do-rag are you using?
I just wore a little doobie. Actually, compliments to the braider. She did a great job. Yeah.
Nah, bro, like that's a combination. You got Indian in your family? Like that's a very laid down.
I actually low key do. You know, everyone got that Cherokee in their family.
Little bit.
You know what I'm saying?
A little bit.
Thank you though.
I'm very
impressed. 15
impressed.
years in the making right here.
Listen, I was interviewing you when you were wearing throwback jerseys.
I know.
And
And the Tisa hats.
Like the really big hat.
Yeah.
Where like it had a lot of air
Yeah.
in it. You know, like if someone hit you, it would dent.
Yeah.
But that was the time.
That was your New York days too.
I don't know why I'm talking. I was wearing Kangos.
You was wearing Kangos.
A lot though.
A lot has happened since then.
Yes. A lot has happened.
Yeah, congrats to you.
Ditto.
Thank you.
Look at all these diamonds. Shining, 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 shining. A lot has happened. I remember being at a event of sorts, and it was a good music event. And I remember like I was like standing, and like you walked by. I couldn't say hello to you, but in that moment I was like, oh, he made it. Because it was like you were being ushered by.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You didn't walk by.
Like,
he was being guided through the plebeians.
Yes.
And I was just like, oh, look at Sean making it.
Because you seen me before that.
Yes, I saw you when Big Sean was a
underground,
vision.
like blog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Blog.
mixtape, just getting it off, you know, performing in the basement of places. SOBs, yep. That was like, those were monumental times in my life, so.
Well, that was when it was like, ooh, you know, he could rap. That was the conversation. It was always like, you know, he from Detroit, but he could rap.
Yeah.
And you see the butt in there, but he could rap. Because Detroit, I feel like.
Got that, you know, Jay Dilla, Eminem, Royce,
yes.
Slum Village. But I mean,
I was
that's
playing
just the
Slum Village
history.
when you came in the house.
Oh, for real? Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Yeah, you on purpose.
It wasn't really on purpose, but I really do love Slum Village.
Yeah, and to the new ones too, like Peasy, Babyface, right? All the like, it's just like keeps continuing, so it's great.
My thing about Detroit rap is often it's like affidavit raps, and I'm just like, stop saying the crimes.
Right.
Like it just feels too real.
Yeah.
You know what's really real though is that you're a father.
Yes.
You are a father, and that is what this episode is about here with Big Sean. Side effects of being a new father. You saw how tense he got just now. He put his hands in his lap. Are you worried?
No, I'm not worried. I've never talked about this though, so I'm excited. I've never really like sat and talked and like, so I don't even know what I don't know what I'm about to say. So yeah.
Well, what I do love about you is that you're eloquent and you're thoughtful. And you're mindful.
Thank
and
you.
A lot of folks these days are not, and not just because they're like trying to get a look or whatever, but simply because they just don't seem to have the tools. And that's why like I'm just like such a proponent of education, because I feel like you need to be able to speak for yourself.
Yeah, and I love how you are like just on your socials, like how you speak with your voice. It's not like anyone else's vision is yours. And the reason I appreciate you saying that, but the reason I'm like that is just through experiences, you know what I'm saying? And really paying attention to myself, learning a lot about myself, and even the point in time where I had a kid, like, I feel like it was a great time for me. And first of all, when you do have a kid, it's a magical thing. And I mean that because you go through miscarriages, right? You go through things. It's not easy. It's not easy to have a baby as it sounds.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Someone online was like, you know, you would have God's grace if you would just have a baby and get married. And I was like, well, I'm actually with somebody and I was pregnant and I miscarried. And they were like, that happened because of what you talk about. I'm like, first and foremost, go yourself.
That's
But also, yes.
That's up.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's also so common. Like miscarriages are like a really, really, really common thing.
As common to me as pregnancies for real.
For real.
You know, it's like, so when it does happen, whether it's what God, I feel like God gives you what you need as opposed to always what you want. Sometimes what you want is what you need, and sometimes what you need isn't what you want.
Most times.
But, that can definitely apply to a pregnancy but I'm at a point in my life where I understand that anything that happens to me, I feel like I got the full support of God, the full support of the universe behind me. So I take it as a blessing. How did I get there?
Yeah, that's not some place that you just arrive.
By trying to be in control of everything that you're not supposed to be controlling, by realizing that you live in Cairo versus Chronos, you're on God's time, you know what I mean? As opposed to, it's something that I used to struggle with, trying to get things done at a certain time. Like you said, comparing yourself to somebody else, doing all these things, it'll take you through all these highs and lows, right? And you go through anxiety, you go through depression, you go through all these things, and you just kind of have to take a step back and just realize that all these parts of yourself are parts that you just have to work with and recognize, and once, like for me, I meditate every day. That's my thing. I journal every day. I had to take the time out, even if it's just 15, 20 minutes, just to get my mind straight, because when I do come across the situations that used to bring me down, it's kind of like they just fall off of me instead of sticking to me and weighing me down. You know what I'm saying?
What led you to meditation? Was that like your first stop on like getting to that center space?
No,
did you go to therapy?
That was the first thing. No, my mom. See, I had an angel for a mama for real. So
Nice.
She was the one who introduced me to meditation when I decided that I wanted to rap. You know what I'm saying? Like back when I was like 11 years old, she was always telling me like, you can do it. But you got to understand like the universe is working with you. She was preaching that to me then, so I kind of always built the belief that like I'm gonna make it happen. Like I don't know how, but that ain't for me to worry about. So then when I turned 17, she gave me like some books to read, like 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra, all these like Asking It Is Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks, and one of the main things about that was meditation. And she was like, just visualize it. Who do you visualize yourself on stage? Who do you want to, being signed to Ye, that was like my first, that's what I wrote on my notebook in my goals. That was like my first choice. Obviously, he didn't know who I was, and I didn't know how I was going to meet him, but I just like visualized it happening, and like that was just an example. That was my first example of like really manifesting and realizing that like God got my back,
I definitely think that, well, first of all, I'm impressed because I can't meditate. I can only meditate on my head.
Well, hold up. So that's the thing. It's like, I think people get the wrong idea about meditation. It's like, people think that meditation is like, you got to turn your brain off and like, your thoughts aren't running. Like, nah, like meditation is just you taking the conscious time out to be...
Still?
It's not just to be still, but to just be conscious of your thoughts. So it's like, it's like putting attention to your intention, basically. To me, that's what meditation is.
Say it again.
Yeah, you put attention to your intention. You
you be rapping, bitch.
Come on, man. Come on.
Lyrics.
But it ain't about like having to be like still, and all of that. Like, I feel like there's no wrong way to do it. So for you as a person who you are, if you are, it's like when I journal and write down my things, I meditate on them for that day. And I feel like that just supercharges whatever I got to do. It's
so
simple.
Do you have a regimen that you do before you greet your son for the day?
Yeah. So I like to meditate before, and I meditate with him too. You know what I'm saying? Like I hold him in my arms because he likes for me to hold him, every morning. And that's kind of like me and him have a couple hours every morning to just ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I go over affirmations with him. I am happy and fun. I am brilliant. I am, I am grateful. All these things. And he first of all, I feel like when two people do have a baby, it's the best part of you at that moment in your life, and the best part of the other person, so the best part of mom and the best part of dad, and that's when they were conceived. It's like wherever you at in that life, right? So I just see like
That makes sense because
sense,
I
because-
should have got pregnant a lot of times and I didn't because I was with the worst. So I feel like that math.
That's
like,
not funny, but
it's absolutely true because I did get pregnant with the best dude. Like I got pregnant with like my man who is the greatest of all time. So that actually tracks.
right. No, to me,
And I would tell people like they'd be like, "You're gonna get pregnant," and I'm like, "No, it's not. It's not my story." But I shouldn't be though.
yeah. right.
But I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've definitely got periods I don't deserve.
Yeah.
But I think that is a beautiful way to look at just the miracle of life.
Yeah, it take a lot of patience too. You know, it's all like I showed you pictures and video of him. Like we haven't posted him to the net or nothing like that, but you see you see he's something. He's something special though, you know what I mean? Like
You can't get that away yet. Yeah, you can't let the people have access to that yet.
Right. It's just
also,
like
the internet is crazy. Like the babies on the internet, I'd be like, "How y'all feel safe with this?" Like I
Right.
got 2 new kittens. I ain't even put
he's
them
the
on
most
internet
beautiful
yet.
thing I ever seen. I know I'm biased, but to
I mean,
me,
he's literally half of you, so.
yeah,
I mean, it's like I get why you would say that.
yeah, but he's happy. You know what I'm saying? He's just pure love and that innocence. So it's just like I don't really know how to be a good dad. I just know how to be there. You know, and that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let him be who he is and nurture that. I ain't gonna try and control him. I'm gonna just let him like
I love
discover the
hearing that.
world. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of that goes on with parenting. You know, you gotta let him be adventurous, be wild. You know.
Well, I feel like people have this vision of what they want for their child based on themselves, right? I just remember having conversations with people before they had their kids and they already had these like very clear like ideas about like, okay, well, my kid is not going to read Harry Potter. And you're like, okay, but like you haven't
What if
even
your
had
kid isn't into Harry Potter?
like what happens then?
Right.
You know, like my kid is not gonna do dance classes. Like, and it's just it's like, why are you already creating limitations? The world will create enough limitations.
Period, man. Period.
So it's odd to me.
Now you gotta like just nurture who they are. You know, no matter what it is. You know, whether they want to be a astrophysicist, they want to be a basketball player, they want to be the manager of the
Gap.
McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be the best manager. Period. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, it's just like you nurture whatever they got a passion for because it's brilliance in that and it's something special. You know, even just think about it. I remember growing up and it was like you wasting your time playing video games. You wasting your time. These getting. I mean, just
millions.
Not even just video games, but streamers. Just like all these things that at one point you could have been looked at as a waste of time. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like even what you do and what I do. You know,
that's
like,
right.
oh, you rapping? What you gonna
Right.
do? You need to get a job.
Yeah,
you know,
period.
and
Heard that so many times.
of course. I mean, I was acting, even though I've been working SAG since '94.
Since '94.
Even though I've been working,
Ain't that special?
Yes, it's been a long journey.
My brother and me days.
Oh, wow.
Is that where we going? Is that where we going? We going back that far?
I mean, it goes back even further than that.
It goes
but
back further than that.
Yes, because I started at 8 and I got my SAG card on a movie called Cop and a Half with Burt Reynolds.
Right.
Yes.
Ain't that some Burt Reynolds?
Yeah, I know. And in my mind, he was racist, but I don't know. But it just seems like it would track. If he was still alive, I feel like we'd know now. Because everybody right now is like, ha ha, didn't know I was racist, did ya? Pow, pow.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, honestly, that speaks to like you have a child in this world. Where do you feel like you find, I don't know, peace? Like, what's your peace of mind in like bringing a child into the world as we know it? Because this is not the same. I don't feel like this is the
Right.
same energy that I came into.
It's not.
So how do you manage that? Or do you at all?
It's kind of, those are things that for me as a parent, as a dad, you want to just introduce your son to things that are beneficial to him. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the Montessori things, a lot of the toys he plays with, a lot of just, and playing them with him too. That's important too. Playing them with him. Like you don't just leave him to him to play. If we in the water with him, like we splash in the water, we playing with toys with him and just interacting with him and guiding him in that way. you can't hide them from the world. You know what I'm saying? You can't. I feel like that's just that'll might damage them even more.
That's what I feel like so much effort is being made right now by parents. Like, I don't want my kid to see gay people. I don't want my kid to know about racism. I don't want my kid to know about history. I don't want,
Right.
and it's like, well, how these things really
These things
exist.
it's going, and it might rock them. It might rock them different when they finally get exposed to that. You know what I mean? So to me, it's just kind of like, obviously we not sitting here. He's not a year old yet, so it's like we're not like playing certain things on TV. We're not doing that, but we definitely are just, like I said, keeping an open mind and just introducing new things to him, new foods to him, new experiences as much as we can. Taking him to the zoo, letting him see animals, or taking him on walks every day. That's one thing we do, is like take him on a walk through the neighborhoods, through the flowers. Just, it's a beautiful life, man, for real.
It really sounds like
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's a lot, but it's like more than worth it.
What about it is a lot?
The it's just like your world well, he is wow, this is deep. He's my only son, so my world revolves around him.
The raps, yo.
But it's just like, it's not all about you anymore.
Yeah.
It's not about you, all about you anymore. But
Do you find yourself fighting that sometimes, or
not
have
at
you
all.
given yourself
Not at
over
all.
to it easily?
No, it's like part of my purpose. It's like it is my purpose. It's like he's the one right now for me. I'm definitely like, it's definitely new emotions too, because it's like,
Yeah.
I didn't know I could be, there's a lot of experiences you experience. It's like, first of all, somebody peeing on you, right? A lot of people do like that.
That's an experience I have not
Right?
had.
That's something that, a lot of people, some people like that. Some people like that, or even getting on, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, we took it.
Some people like that.
Yep.
That's not something I was ever into, right? But it's like,
Someone brought up
If
Two
I- if
Girls,
I'm
One
ch-
Cup the other day.
I know, crazy.
And I was like, we lived through that.
I know. But it's like, if I get peed on from my son, if I get
Okay, that's where
poop
we're
on my
going with
hands,
this. Okay.
if I get
was
poop,
very confused.
I know, poop on my hands or something, right? It's like, I really just be thankful that his organs are working.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's one of the side effects of fatherhood. It's like your perspective widens, and things you thought you would never be able to do.
Right.
You would do it in a second and like 1,000 times over. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I remember throwing up, like being about to throw up, and my mom like putting her hands for me to throw up in
You
her
know what I mean?
hands. And she was like, not on the comforter.
Yeah, like if I'm throwing up, you would not put your hands out.
I would not.
Yeah.
I would not. Your hair's already pulled back, so you don't even need help with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Right,
good.
right.
You good.
Mm-hmm.
Did you always envision being a dad? Like, was that always a part of like your life plan? Because like
No.
you had getting signed by Kanye on the life plan.
Nah, it wasn't. It wasn't a part of my plan. It's not something I was against though. It's something I was definitely like, just like, if you would have asked me that before, I would have been like, yeah, whenever it happens, it happens,
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I can see how it can be, but it happened to me at a time after I had took some time to be conscious of myself, took some time to learn myself, right?
What
So
even
when-
caused that though? What made you decide
just
like
life,
I need to take time?
experiences, you know what I'm saying? Time going through ups and downs, going things not working out how you want them, having to step back and analyze and be like, well, reestablish your clarity, reaffirm what you believe in, get your vision together, and then understand that everything happens for a reason. One of the most traditional sayings, one of the most cliche sayings, everything happened for a reason. When you really believe that, when things don't go your way, it's almost just like, it's not even a bad thing. It's like, okay, this wasn't meant for me at the time, but I was at that point in my life where I had learned to, live with all aspects of my life. But when I couldn't imagine being like 18 years old, people who are like teenagers, people who are kids and still have kids, people who are kids and have kids, it's like, that's a whole different experience, because you're not even fully done developing, and you don't even really know yourself, because sometimes life is the best teacher, and that is the only way you can learn lessons, is through experiences. You know what I mean? So for the people who do have to have kids younger, like I really give a lot of power to them because it takes so much patience. And that's something that you might not have as much as when you're young. It takes patience. It takes like intuitiveness, you know, it takes like you really like feeling your child out. So, you know, it could even be a dramatic and traumatic thing for somebody who's not ready for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't come from that perspective, but I understand it. And I use a lot of the things that I've learned and apply it to fatherhood.
When you found out that you were going to be a father,
Yeah.
what was the like first thought that came in your mind?
First thought that came to my mind is, well, when you have gone through miscarriages, you know what I'm saying? When you've gone through like stuff like that, it's just kind of like you just kind of like you just
Fingers
accept
crossed.
it. You
Right.
just accept it. It's like, oh, you pregnant? It's like, you know, you happy, but it's like as for I mean, I'm just speaking from my perspective. You don't want to get your hopes up too much. You just, you know, okay, beautiful. You know what I'm saying? If we get
Keep your
blessed
heart
to
three
have
stacks.
that. But then when you get to a certain like months later, you know, like 5-6 months, you like, okay, this is it for real. You know what I mean? And you gonna start to think and you're gonna have all these thoughts, but it's just a part of it. And then you're just gonna have to just be like, look, this is meant to happen because it's happening.
Yep.
You know, and the fact that it's meant to happen means that you deserve it.
Were there any conversations that you had with people that may have been like directly around fatherhood, but that also may not have been, but like that you took with you coming into this? Because I feel like sometimes it might even be a cab driver, you know, that will say something that you're like, and that cab driver on the West Side Highway changed the course of how I look at this thing. Was there anything or any movies or like anything that really just like hit you? Or was there anything that you maybe had been used to seeing, but that now you had this perspective, like?
First of all, well, I didn't like, it made me appreciate my parents more because it's like, y'all went through this.
Were your parents together?
They were together, but then they ended up splitting up after I was born. You
Okay.
know? They had 2 kids. They had me and my older brother, Brett. You know what I'm saying? So, but I just had a lot of respect for them. Just, you know, my mom working her jobs and, you know, they didn't have a lot of money like that. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have a lot of advantages that I have today. You know what I'm saying? And they really were thugging it. You know, they were grinding for real. I don't know what other word to use, but they was thugging it though. You know what I'm saying? They was making it work. I just respect them for that. I really respect my mama too for breastfeeding 2 boys. And
That's such a specific. I've never in my life heard a man be like, "Thank you for breastfeeding us."
nah, boy, you know the advantages of breastfeeding are like
Please
tremendous.
tell us, please.
I mean, just for it's like it definitely like for autoimmunity, for all these things, like it really is supposed to like lay a great foundation for your overall health. You know what I'm saying? So if you breastfeed for at least a few months, like it's one of the best things you can do for your baby's health. You know what I mean? So the fact she did it, it takes a lot out of the mama though.
Yeah.
It takes a lot out of the mama. You know what I'm saying? And it could be frustrating and painful. You know, biting that nipple, you biting down on that nipple like that. You know what I mean? So it's
People don't talk about that. A lot of my friends.
it's tough. It's tough, man.
Like,
you know?
was that a surprise for you? Like, what are some surprises that you feel like have popped up in this process that you just like were like, I didn't even know that was a thing? Because I know, like, even with babies, it's just like, oh, like, I didn't even know they do this. I didn't even know they do that. Like, I know I have friends who, because I don't want you to talk about Janae, but more so about just like your experience of surprises. Like, I have friends who were just like, oh, like, I really didn't realize they really hear everything. Like, they really hear everything.
You can see how his face lights up if mom and dad are together. You know what I'm saying? Like, when he sees acts of love between us, like, he loves that. He, like, smiles so big. Like, you never know because you can't communicate with them the way we communicate, but you could just, he feels energy more than anything. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's important for you to keep your energy right, to me, around your kids, you know? So it's luckily we're not in a place where it's any bad energy. It's just all positive. You know what I mean? And I think he's flourishing. Yeah, as a baby, we're really happy to see that. Yeah.
Has your mom shared with you like anything about your childhood that you feel like you want to carry through with him?
Has my mom? Let me think about that. She definitely be giving. My mom is definitely one of those mamas that be butting in for sure. That be like, make sure you do it, But she does a lot of research.
Okay.
She's a very holistic mom, and she's been very helpful too. And any advice I get from anyone in life, not just my parents, but any of my mentors, gurus on any level, any genre, I always take it with a grain of salt because and see if it applies to me or if it doesn't. And it might not apply to me at the time. It might apply to me later. You know what I mean? So when it has come to like my boy and she'll say, "Oh, you used to do that," or or "Oh, that's how you used to smile," or she'll show me a picture. And by the way, it's just real confirmation that you really do pass on everything to your kids.
That's crazy.
That's why it's important to for real work on yourself and be conscious of that, because you don't just pass on genetics. You passing on like energy. You passing on your trauma. You passing on things you may or may not have dealt with. You passing on autoimmunity things. Like before, I'm glad that I did like a liver cleanse, kidney cleanse, all this, but not in preparation to have a baby. I just was like, again, like having a good guidance system, people around. Like I did like a 4-month cleanse where I like cleaned out everything, and it changed my overall health.
Wait, 4 months isn't that's excessive for even LA.
I know. I know. It was a supplemental cleanse though, so you just kind of have to like not really too much change up how you eat, but it's just more about like the supplements you take. It's supposed to clean out everything you got,
That's a lot.
Any parasites you might have, anything it is. I know.
I'm even afraid, like someone told me I need to be drinking.
It ain't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
I don't know. Like someone told me about magnesium the other day, and then when I read the bottle, they were like, magnesium can be a laxative. And I'm like, I don't want to poo.
For sure. Why not? You rather have it in you? You rather have it inside of you, huh? Than to get it out?
First of all, I don't like the implications.
You rather be full of shit, huh? Okay, I get it. No, but think about it, though. That's what people got to realize. Like, I remember somebody was telling me the other day, like, I don't like to eat this because it make me. I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to use.
What were they eating so I cannot eat that?
Like, Chipotle gonna have you.
Oh well, yeah, that's true. But I don't think that's in a positive way. I feel like it makes you, but in like a way that you're not supposed to be.
I feel like any way you is how you're supposed to do it. Think about food.
We gotta look that up.
Why would you eat something that doesn't make you use the bathroom? That means it just sticks and
because there's different types of poop. Like there's good poop and bad poop. You never saw that episode of Oprah? There's
good poop and bad poop, but it's still poop.
I know, but it's like your body is supposed to work a certain way.
The episode of Oprah. The microbiome episode, huh?
There was an episode of Oprah. It was like, it's not supposed to, she was like, it's supposed to flow.
Oprah was giving game.
Oprah was giving.
Oprah was giving game. I mean, Oprah really probably was the one who, I don't know about that, but really helped introduce that way of thinking, I feel like spiritually more to my mom. My mom was already on that path. But yeah, I think like my mom gave me the book The Secret when I was younger. That for sure was an Oprah.
That was absolutely an Oprah
book club exclusive. You know what I mean? And I even work with one of the ladies now that helped write The Secret and was in the movie The Secret, who really was the one who helped me just get deeper into my meditations, deeper into remembering who I am spiritually, and just all of that. You know.
Do you feel like? How do you feel like that has helped you just even in business, right? Like being able to like get to that place? Because I just feel like that is not easy for people. Like the same way that you're talking about, like, you should want to like expel. It's like people should want to expel and it's just as difficult. And so I'm curious, like, how has that made this road any easier or harder?
It just is like you learn to not take things personal. You know what I'm saying? And realize that business is business. So yeah. I don't get emotional over business because...
Did you before?
Yeah. You'd be like, this trying to play me. It's like, it can... You still get emotional about it, but you don't let it stick with you. I feel like you know, when you get to a certain level of like operating at your highest self, which is a constant thing, right? It's just like, I feel like operating at your highest self is just being intentional with everything you do. So it's like, yeah, you gonna feel a way, but you're not gonna act on it. You gonna more so realize that, you know, this ain't for me to control. This is up to somebody else to control. But when it comes to business, you just don't take it personal. You know, that's one of the 4 agreements. You ever read that book?
Don't take it. See it right there over
Exactly.
Vito's head.
Yeah.
See it next to that black folder.
Don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal. Be impeccable with your word.
Yep.
Don't think words will be impeccable with word. What's the other one?
The other ones are.
Be on time.
No, I know. No.
Pass it to me, Vito. Reach up.
Be
Right there.
impeccable
Right
with your
there. Right
time.
to the right. To the right. To the right.
Yeah, I know that one.
All right. You see how we could just, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a great read right there.
Have you ever read Paulo Coelho? Which one? Never assume.
Never assume.
Be impeccable with your word.
Oh, never assume.
Don't take anything personal. Don't make assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
Always do your best.
Always do your best. Yep.
Do you feel like you always do your best?
Yes, for sure. I feel like as a critic of yourself, you always feel like you can do better.
Yes.
But it's the best though. You know what I'm saying? You always are like never satisfied. But I think that's a good thing. You know, I've learned to take some of the things that people might look at me as my flaws and realize that that's just what works with me and that's how I do things.
What are some things you feel like are your flaws? That...
Like I'm somebody who will double think. Like, you know, not overthink. People use the word overthink. I don't think it's overthink. I like thinking it through. I'm a thinker througher. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm somebody who...
Why do people not like that? Like you said that people consider that a flaw? Why?
There are some people who consider that a flaw. They would consider that a flaw because it's like, oh, you're not spontaneous enough or something, right? But I am spontaneous, but I just listen to myself. And if I want to think through it, I'm going to think through it. You know what I mean? Or what else?
Are you a perfectionist?
I take my time. I take my time with things. Am I a perfectionist? Yeah, but I'm a perfectionist. I know that perfection is not achievable.
It's elusive.
You know what I'm saying? It might have been closer to perfection before you started double analyzing it and adding and this and that, you know, as a creative. And sometimes I revert back to my original idea, you know, when it comes to whatever I'm creating. But I don't mind the process. You know, I like turning over every rock. And I think that that's just who I am. And I accept that, you know. I don't know what else, like, you have to ask somebody else.
He's like, I don't know my flaws.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm out here. I'm in the world in a windbreaker.
Yeah, a windbreaker. A vintage Ford windbreaker.
Oh.
Yeah.
Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit.
They just knocked over recently, like, the incinerator that had been, like, in the center of Detroit.
I know.
And I was like, oh, it took a long time to do that.
Yeah, by the way, Flint's still not okay. Just
Oh, we
throwing it
know.
out there. We don't have
We
to talk
know.
about that.
No, we know. We can talk
Flint's
about
still
that.
not okay.
We just had Shari Copley, who is what did I say? Mari Copley, who is Little Miss Flint. We just had her on my radio show because she was like, "How y'all raise $2 million for Daniel Perry for killing somebody on the train, but you didn't raise $1 million for me to get filters for Flint?" And I was like, "That's a valid point. Please come on my show and talk about it."
Yeah, or, you know, I don't even want to talk about, I ain't even going to say nothing about the government now. You know what I'm saying? Because, but just like, you know, the things that they spend money on, it's like, that ain't a third world country. Flint is in America. You know what I'm saying?
It's like right here.
Overlooking it like it's not. And it's just kind of still has to do with a lot of layers that this country was built on. You know, a lot of racism, a lot of discrimination, a lot of, you know, level of importance, a lot of classism, a lot of just, is it worth it? You know what I mean?
Are they worth it?
Are they worth it? And these people got irreversible brain damage, lead poisoning, you know. Cancer. My mom actually had lead poisoning and was able to overcome it. You know,
the holistic?
She was able, that's a whole nother podcast. We could talk about that. My mom cured a lot of autoimmune things that she had going on and was scared that she passed them on to me, you know, and like, that was one of her reasons for taking such good care of me so early on and like put me on vitamins, supplements, like, you know, praying that I didn't get it and I didn't, you know.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's deep.
It is deep. All of this is deep. You know, like just parenthood in general. I remember we had a Oprah reference, but Dr. Phil, who is no longer a board certified therapist, but did make a valid point when he was. He said, you know, children shouldn't arrive with a job. And like so many, right? Like so many folks have a kid and the purpose is not anything having to do with that child. Like that child is coming here already to serve something that it had no involvement in
Right.
whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think also babies choose their parents.
My mom always says that.
I mean, there's some truth to it. I feel like they choose their parents because, you know, like I said, they know that those are the parents that they need. It may not be the parents they want, but it's the parents they need.
Do you go to therapy?
I have done therapy at different times in my life. But yeah, I do a form of therapy. I talk to people. For sure, it's important. The beautiful thing about therapy is you get to leave it all there. Now I'm not saying you shouldn't talk to your friends, your family, people you work with and see on a daily basis, but it's like if you leave them there, you're going to have to come back to it, and you may not want that to affect all the other aspects of your relationship. It's great to have a therapist and have the relationship of being able to talk things through, think things through, strategize, emotionally dump, and just like, and that's it. And you leave there feeling lighter.
Hold up. Wait. I need y'all to take a moment and ask yourself, am I enjoying myself right now? Am I liking what I'm watching? I am. So I need you to hit that like. We can't have all these people watching and not all these people liking. And you know what? Before you go, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe. This is Amanda Seals TV. All right, let's get back to the show.
Now, therapy, I inspired my dad to go to therapy.
That's why I brought this up. I was about to talk
You know
about
what I'm
I got
saying?
my
My dad from Monroe, Louisiana, who...
You got your dad to go.
I got my dad to go, who that wasn't even a part of his consciousness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He would get his beat for being on the wrong side of the train tracks down there. You know, I'm talking about my dad's 70 years old, so he grew up in them segregate and then real times where it was really bad in a place that's like even further at that time was even further setback. You know, that it was like he would tell me stories, and he had a speech impediment, my dad, and I always wonder, like, you know, is that something that you were born with? Or is that something that you got from trauma? You know, and he obviously overcame it, and he, you know, I love my dad. He's always been a great dad and has always done his best to teach me the lessons and that he's learned. He's very funny. He's a real player for sure, like to the T, forever. You know what I'm saying? Like he was rocking leather pants when I was young, just like different silk scarves, and just like, you know, he would pull up in drop tops, and I'm just like, my dad was just that guy back then. And I used to make fun of him, like, man, you got on leather pants, man. And I remember we were walking the stage one time, and I had on leather pants, and he tapped me and said, hey, leather pants. And it was like, I hadn't talked about that for 15 years or something. You know what I mean? That was like at least 15 years, but it was like we both immediately knew. And that's funny because you just never know them times between your parents or your kids, like, that you gonna remember or that stick with you like that, you know?
I mean, it's so real. I feel like therapy is such a, like, you're coming into parenting at such a shift in parenting, because we're of a generation that has actually like actively made the effort to heal in a way that our parents really didn't, in the way that a lot of our parents really didn't necessarily pursue until maybe like later in life.
Right.
You know, like, so like, I feel like our generation of parents are showing up different. You know, there's this whole idea of like gentle parenting. Have you heard of gentle parenting?
Of course. I feel like to each his own, though.
Right.
You know, if that's the way, I do believe in.
I feel like y'all are gentle parents.
I mean, I ain't about to be beating nobody. I ain't about to be like, my kid,
well,
you know?
Right.
But that's because I got blessed with a kid that is just already. I mean, like I said, he's not walking yet. He's not barely talking yet. But he's just, you could just tell he got a patience to him. He got like an energy to him that he's just like, he's very social. He's happy. He's calm. He got I don't see myself having to like go crazy
discipline,
on them.
right?
You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna have to.
Well, yeah.
Not go crazy, but
no,
like.
but discipline him for sure. I'm gonna get on it. I'm gonna be on his for sure. You know what I mean? Because and my parents were with me too, especially my mom. You know, my dad was too in his own ways, but you know, I definitely had to. You know, I got whoopings. You know what I'm saying? I got smacked for saying some dumb before.
I got smacked, yeah.
Not a lot. I don't want
I
to.
got 2 smacks.
I don't want to put that on him like that, but just once in a while when you know, I'm not sitting here saying I didn't deserve it neither.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely same. I got 2 smacks. I remember them. I can tell you the trajectory of the sun when it happened.
Right.
It was like, okay, cool. You got that. You got
but
that.
it's kind of hard to just like say you're like every kid is different. So whatever applies. But no, I don't believe in like brutalizing a kid or like abuse. I feel like it's, you know, I don't believe in abusing and shit like that.
I mean, I just feel like at this point, we just know better.
Yeah.
So we can do better.
Of course.
Like even when you're talking about like doing affirmations in the morning and things like this, I think a lot of us, a lot of parents didn't really understand that like babies are taking it in from like in the womb, right?
Yeah.
And like even when you came out, I know when I came out as a baby, like my mom always says, like I came out with my eyes open, like I came out like what's good.
I can see that.
Like what's the demographics
that.
in this room? Are there any black people in this room? Like I feel like I came out. Let's hit it. And so she said that she had a consciousness from early on that I was, you know, taking things in. And I think a lot of times people just don't think about that about kids. And so they underestimate the way that their behaviors are affecting. And just the fact that like kids are so tapped in a way that we're not.
Period. Because they coming from like the pureness of untapped, like everything is new to them. So they coming from like the pureness of the same, you know, I'm trying to think. Let me get my words together. It's the pure potential of the universe. You know what I'm saying? They're coming from the source of it all, you know, and then they get into the world. That's why I feel like a lot of people, you heard the term babies bring good luck. They do. Like there's a lot of people that I know where it's like a lot of things bring good luck as well. But I'm just saying like a baby, you know, I know people who like, man, I had a baby and that's when my business took off and this and that, you know, because, you know, if you believe in a higher power, it's going to supply what you need in the time you need it. You know what I mean?
I feel like babies bring good luck. I think they also bring hope. I think that's a lot of times what the luck is. It's just a change. It's a shift in energy.
Yeah, and luck might not be the right word, like you said. It could be hope, or it's just it definitely shifts something though, and it lights a fire in you because the responsibility can be it can be heavy to some people. It can be motivating to some people. It can be inspiring to some people. It can be it's just how all you look at it. But like I said, one way to not be like distraught or like, oh, like this is too much, like I can barely take care of myself, is just to remember that you were chosen. You know what I'm saying? You were really chosen for this person. You were really chosen and it's meant to be. It's not on accident. And like when you accept that, things will unfold magically, man. Like me and you sitting, coming, you know, I don't know if people know that we in your house right now, or rolling through your neighborhood. It's magical. It's magical. I'm for real. Like as far as you came, the things you've seen, the ways it could have gone. It's like to be up here doing your podcast. You know what I'm saying? And right here, it's beautiful and it's meant to be.
5 years in, you know, it's true. It's I mean, so many things have to go right. Like so many things have to land in place
for that to even happen.
Like, right. You know what I mean? Like even for you to, like, even though we talk about birth and we talk about pregnancy like so casual just because like it's just happening around us. Like to circle back to what you were saying in the beginning, it still requires like even down to like this sperm got to get to that egg and like got to pop off in order for things to happen. And I feel like I know I'd be looking at him like, man, you really started from D's nuts for real. Like I'd be looking like,
I'd be like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's what a journey just that is. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm 42, and my mom to this day will be like, I can't believe you're here. Like, you were not here, and now you're here.
I'm going to be like that. I'm going to be old, like, man, you came from these nuts.
You'll be like, leather pants.
Exactly.
But you'll be in a spaceship.
Yeah.
Have you read The Alchemist? Okay, I just have to make sure.
No,
I don't know.
just,
that was the right
of
face.
Course. Yeah.
No, that was the right face.
What's crazy is I read The Alchemist, and then
have you read Warrior of Light?
Yes, I have.
Look at you, Susie Blue.
But I only read The Warrior of Light once, but the Alchemist, that's a book I read like 3 times.
Same.
And every time I read it, it was different.
Yes.
And that just goes to show like your perspective changes and how you read things, how you observe things. It's like.
Do you remember how they were different?
The first time I read it, let me go back, because the first time I read it.
Like high school-ish?
No, not high school. I was kind of like, it was when I had signed my record deal, but things weren't going how I wanted them to go. You know, things weren't. There was a time period where I signed my deal in 2008. My album didn't come out till 2011. So it's like there was a time of it where that was my first like real hit with depression, because it's like not going how I wanted to go. I was like scared of getting dropped. I was like, didn't have the confidence in myself all the way because I was just young. You know, I was 19, 20 years old, you know what I'm saying? And like being in rooms with like Ye, Jay, you know, your idols. And it's like, you know, okay, how can I get
Prove
there?
myself.
Riding around LA, like, man, how can I get one of these houses? It's just a lot for somebody, you know what I mean? It was just, well, I'm sure somebody that age can handle it, but it was a lot for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What did depression look like for you? It looks different for everybody.
I was just frustrated and just had a lot of dark thoughts, really just like feeling like everything was too hard for me, feeling like even just getting up and like going somewhere is just, this is just, you know, everything is just, you make everything out to just be, it's like really an illusion for real, you know, and it's so many factors. I feel like there's so many different ways to be depressed, you know, but
That's why I asked, yeah.
yeah, but when that was like my first time, but then I just had to just accept, you know, stop trying to control everything. Just accept it and live in the moment and go with your feelings. And I applied that to the studio, and that's when things really started popping for me.
Where do you feel like the desire to try to control everything came from? Because it's interesting that I think it's really super dope that you've moved past that in time to be a parent. Because I feel like that's the most deleterious like way to parent.
Yeah.
But what do you feel like was the thing that made you feel like I need to control everything? It took me a long time to learn why I feel like I needed to control everything.
It just was, I don't know why. It just was a program. I was programmed, you know, I feel like I had to control everything. I also had a fear of money, of not having enough money. That used to be a fear of mine.
A fear that you got it and you would lose it?
A fear that I got it and would lose it, fear that I don't have enough, a fear of all these things like, running out. But I just, at one point after I just got to a point where I was like, look, I'm going to always have what I need, period. And ever since then,
you had to get it out.
Ever since then, it's just like whenever I've never been in a having to need money or nothing, you know.
Isn't it crazy how we create fears?
I know.
I remember Currency had like a fear of his phone dying. And
really?
Yes. Spitta, we would be somewhere.
Shout out Spitta, that's my boy.
Shout out to Spitta. We would be somewhere and he'd be like, my phone's gonna die. And he would leave.
You got like FOMO. Big FOMO.
Literally.
Yeah, but no, just these certain fears and I don't know. I guess that might have been something that was passed on from my parents for real.
That's why I asked. I didn't know because you, through therapy meditation, you start to get to the bottom of things and you're like, oh, that's what that's about. And you don't even know. I had an epiphany about abandonment issues in the pandemic that helped me understand why I feel like I need to control everything.
Wow, abandonment issues.
Yes.
That's facts.
And so it was
I can see that.
Oh, I feel like I need to control everything to prevent things from abandoning me.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I realized oh.
That ain't gonna do it though. It's like you can't control it.
You can't control it.
You can't control other people. You can't control the things. You just can.
Then you find out things that you didn't know you were doing to control. Like, oh, you keep dating people that aren't on your level.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah over there, like, you keep dating people that aren't on your level
Mm-hmm.
because not because you're trying to like marionette puppet them, but because you know that they need something from you. You can be a resource.
Mm-hmm.
And that low key, you being a resource makes them feel like
It makes you feel worthy and have a purpose. You know, it gives you all these.
and it makes you feel like they're not gonna leave you.
Yeah, and that for sure. You boss somebody up in there, be out on your for sure. It's like
Owe me $2,000 from Detroit right now for some like that. Yep, for some like that.
no, but yeah, you know, one of the things I don't know.
want
Man.
my money. By the way.
I think we make life more complicated than it is as humans. I think we got to look at how easy nature flows, how effortlessly it flows, and I'm not saying we can go through life easy and effortlessly, but just realize that when things are really too hard, you know, ask yourself, like, are you really in alignment with yourself for real? Like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And or is this somebody else's idea of what I'm supposed to be doing? Like you said to me, I think you said that before we started talking.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like my rule of thumb is when it goes from a challenge to a stress, it's time to let it go. It's gonna be a challenge. Like, you know, things like, so even like when we were in the process of doing my stand-up special, like there's a challenge just in the idea of coming up with something and then executing it. Like that's challenging, right? But then there's a point where it's like, okay, but this is like keeping me up at night. So let me change course.
Yeah.
And once we changed course, and it was based on me being still and saying like, okay, are you doing this because you're trying to keep up with folks? Or are you doing this because you're trying to do something for you?
Yeah.
And then once I realigned to that, everything
It went smoothly, right?
smooth.
Yeah. That's a beautiful lesson right there, man. Listening to yourself.
It's hard. You know, we talk a lot on this podcast about the difference between
But that is something I want to teach my well, not just my kid, but you know, that listen to yourself, man. Like listen to yourself.
Listen to this point, because this is something that I feel like
I didn't mean to cut you off.
You felt it in your spirit. There's a difference between doing things to make yourself feel better and doing things to make your life better. And you talked earlier about like God gives you
what you need, not always what you want.
And I'm glad that you're saying, you know, that you want to teach that to your son. What are some other things that you feel like, and they can be as esoteric or as legitimate as like
confidence.
Making spaghetti.
Confidence. I want to teach my son confidence. You know what I'm saying? Because that's something that I had to gain along the way as a man, like my confidence. I have it now.
Where'd you get it from? What do you consider to be the source of confidence?
Experience, like the experiences that I've gone through, believing in myself, executing, seeing something through, or you know, really just having the confidence to know my abilities as a human being, as a man.
I have a theory about confidence.
Yeah, okay. I want to hear it. But confidence is one thing, because I realized that my parents didn't have that much confidence growing up. And I talked to them about this, you know. I said, no, not in a disrespectful way, but I wish you guys would have gave me more confidence. Now, my mom did motivate me, and my mom also had a very open mind. She supported my dreams.
Beautiful.
But she was always like, oh, don't be too reserved. Oh, you don't want to like make too much noise. Like, you know, she was that type of mom. And my dad came from Monroe, Louisiana, where same thing. He had to kind of be reserved. Don't be too out. You know what I'm saying? Don't
draw too much attention to yourself.
Don't draw too much. You know, my mom, I remember when I got my license, you know, make sure your hat is straight. When you pull up next to a cop, don't be wearing your hat all crooked. You know,
But is that confidence, or is that just like survival?
That is survival, of course. But I'm just saying, it's like, at the same time, it's like the confidence to be proud of who you are, the confidence that you got this. You know what I'm saying? I think that's something that I want to instill. Yeah, but you're right. That situation about the hat, that's more of a survival tactic for real, because people crazy.
Yes.
People crazy,
and scared.
Yeah, but confidence and just freedom to think, to just freedom to be him, like I was talking about earlier, just, you know, and and just for him to be conscious of what he's like, his health, conscious of like what he's putting into his body, conscious of, you know, what works for him, what doesn't work for him. Pay attention to the signs, you know, like mom, dad, whoever ain't always gonna be there. Like there's gonna be times where you on your own, and that you gotta know how to survive, you know?
I don't think I've ever heard a dad say that, like specifically, like, I want you to be conscious of your medical health care.
I didn't say medical health care.
And welfare.
But yeah, that too. Yeah, man, you got to be conscious of what you put into your body. You know what I'm saying? Because what you put into your body and what you putting out to the world.
I mean, there's just so much when we're young that we just think, yeah, like, this will come out of my body and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, you get in your 30s and you're like, I feel like I'm still feeling the Patron shots
Oh yeah,
of 2005.
Now you're gonna live your life. Now let's not be unrealistic. You're gonna live your life. You're gonna have your Taco Bell nights, your White Castle, whatever, McDonald's breakfast. You know what I mean?
I still have Taco Bell nights.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. Like you're gonna be a human being and do what you do, but sometimes it's just the fact that when you know better, it's a difference to it. You know, you be like, all right, maybe I ain't gonna have it tonight.
It's true.
You know, as opposed to like, oh, I had it tonight. I'm wanting it again tonight
Turn
and
up.
the next day. You know.
Yes.
You know, just.
Which is how the person at Taco Bell on 151st and Broadway knew my order.
Oh yeah.
Like I would walk in and he'd be like, MTV.
Oh yeah, no. It's a lot of restaurants that know my order too, for sure.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you for seeing me there.
Yeah. And it's nothing. And McDonald's breakfast is one of the greatest things that ever happened.
How do you feel about Waffle House?
I feel pretty good about Waffle House.
Jeremiah, like the Bible over here, really big fan of Waffle House and is always shading me for not
Jeremiah like the Bible.
for not liking Waffle House.
Waffle House comes clutch. Clutch. Waffle House is clutch. I like Waffle House better than IHOP. I'll say that.
I just always feel like there's a roach residue in Waffle House.
And everywhere.
Yeah, but I only feel it in Waffle House. Waffle House and specific Popeyes.
I like grits, you know what I'm saying? So I like that Waffle House got grits.
How has it been being in LA? Like, do you feel like your son is gonna like have a different upbringing being in LA than being in the D? Is there anything you think he's missing?
I'm gonna for sure take his back to Detroit with me a lot of times for time. You know, I know, like, I don't know, people around me think I'm joking, but I'm like, we drop his off for a whole summer there. You know what I'm saying?
East side or west?
West side, you know.
He's like, let's not get out of hand.
But but you know, I think that he gonna be good. You know, he got the essence of he got a lot of good family around him from a lot of different places, from Detroit, from here, from wherever. You know, he gonna be good. Okay. Yeah, I ain't tripping.
And he's gonna have confidence.
And he gonna have confidence.
My theory is that confidence is rooted in facts. And
rooted in facts, huh?
Yeah, that's my theory. That confidence is rooted in facts. And oftentimes, if you take the moment to really explore like your life experience, you can find the data that gives you the confidence to say like, okay, I know this. This I know about myself because I did this, because I saw this, because I failed at this. And so now I know this. And I feel like a lot of times we don't do that mining for confidence. We mine outside of ourselves.
Right.
We look for validation. It's a big ass pillow. We just look for all this outward validation. And then when that's not there, that's when your confidence fails.
Right.
And so then, like, I'm somebody who went through a nervous breakdown and realizing...
That's when your faith kicks in, too.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, that's when it should kick in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that faith... I just really believe that for a lot of us, like, faith isn't a higher power, but your connection to that higher power means that you have to have faith in you.
Yeah.
You have to have faith that you can connect to this higher place.
Absolutely, because you are God. God is in you. You're not a God, but God is in you. That means you have to have faith in yourself. You know what I mean? And that's
it.
Yeah.
Say it.
That's real.
It really...
And that's a fact, too.
I see what you did there.
That's a fact.
You know, in comedy, we call that a callback.
Yeah.
Good job. Your dad had the ill callback. The 15-year callback with the leather pants, that's impressive.
I know. Big call, right? That's like the longest callback ever,
yes.
for sure.
He threw that all the way back. But what we're about to do is we're about to go forward. Okay? Because the people have questions.
Yeah.
Now, I told the people we have a surprise guest. We have a secret guest.
Good.
So these questions are not colored or tailored by whom you are.
Right.
They're literally just asking about being a new father. And I feel like that's how you would want it. You would want it without the bigness of the Seanness. Yeah. This is just grounded Sean.
Right.
Yeah. That's who we're speaking to.
Okay.
So let's head on over to the Amandaverse and answer some questions with Grande Sean and the SEAL Squad. And then my last cat is Huri, which is short for Uhura, as in Lieutenant Nyota Uhura.
Yes.
Of the Starship Enterprise.
Okay, you going that you get levels to it. Okay.
That's what. So
maybe I'm a 9. My dad had was, and my mom too. But my dad knows what to say to me whenever I have a conversation with him about whatever I'm talking about. He know what to say to me, and that's a true hidden talent right there. You know.
You can choose to answer this or not.
All right.
Do you have any tips on how to navigate providing emotional support to your partner? Well, congrats.
Thank you.
I really feel, you know
good
what?
Time. Good seeing you too.
In
I'm glad we
this
got to
moment,
do this.
I feel like I should have had It's a Boy balloon.
No. We good. No, I appreciate that though.
No, I think it's really dope that we got to have this conversation, and I feel special.
Yeah, you my dog, for real.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, a lot of us we don't last this long. We don't stick around.
No, we don't stick around, and we don't stick together neither.
Hey,
I saw you big me up in an interview. I think I reposted it on my story or something. Somebody said something about Big Sean being one of their favorites, and you was like, "Yeah, Big Sean, like, you know what I mean? You big me up, and you don't big a lot of people up.
That is correct.
You don't. You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, there's not a lot of people. You know what it is? Like, there's one thing to big up folks for their skill, their talent, whatever, but it's just dope to be able to big up people for like being like a full person. And I've known you for a long time, like even from a distance, but you just were never sideways.
No.
You were never sideways, and that's like
you come across that a lot,
bruh.
I know.
It just make you, you lucky you don't. I'm lucky my neck ain't got a crick in it from the amount of sideways that you be like, whoa. But it forces you to be very particular about your boundaries.
Yeah.
And about the people that you're around. And I feel like a lot of us have gotten to see you really develop and flourish into not just an artist, but just a full person. Because you came out at a time where social media had started bubbling. So,
right.
You know, for what it's worth, like a lot of the peers that you were around who had like art, like they had maybe just gotten established, like they didn't have to go through that. Like Cudi didn't have to go through in the first phase of his poppiness. Like, I mean, I was there. Like,
right.
Social media wasn't really like
I know
that big. Like, I know that it played a part in him popping, but it wasn't like
he was like a little bit earlier, right?
Just the hair.
Yeah, which was a big difference.
You got your deal in 08.
Yeah.
I got on MySpace in 08.
Yeah.
I got on Twitter in 08. Like
Yeah.
that. And I remember like Questlove hitting me and being like, man, you got to get on this Twitter thing. It's amazing.
Right.
People are just like saying things and then someone else says things.
I remember that too. I think I got on in 08 as well.
You know?
And Facebook before that.
You just start seeing like, okay, because of social media, I feel like we expect so much from people. Like it became more, it wasn't just about the music anymore. So even like you having a child, you know, there's people who are like, how dare they not show their child? It's like, who are y'all? Who are these? As Tommy Davidson would say, who are these? But I feel like it's
your life though. You know, to anybody on social media, like I truly feel like that I'm not that much on my social. There are times where I go a long time without posting. Sometimes it's more frequent, but be who you want to be. Do what you want to do. Live your life. It's social media. Be free. Do what you want to do, man.
I mean, listen, whatever you do on social media, it's going to find you. So you should, you know, be intentional.
Yeah, it might f you up later on. Yeah, maybe don't take that advice that I gave you. You're right. Because nowadays it's way more serious than like.
So I had to do a show for Coca-Cola and Roku, and they did a background check.
Wow, and Twitter and your social media was part of the background. Ain't that some?
I never knew this. Like I'd never. for. So they do the background check, like, no, I don't have any priors, no felonies, etc. And then
That's like a background check.
that's a background check.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we have a second background check. I'm like, to check what? Like my kidney function? Like, what do you mean? And they're like, no, to check your social media. And so then
people be losing real jobs that they worked their whole life for over a tweet. For sure.
One of the characters on Lilo and Stitch, the live version, got cast. People were like, why did y'all cast him? He's too light-skinned, which is its own thing. But he ended up losing the job, not because people like raised a voice, but because he had used the N-word on social media. Wow. And they were like, get him out of here. And now here's a darker skinned person. Everyone was very happy and also glad that he had lost his job for saying the N-word on social media. What y'all doing? But in California, they have to send you your background check. So you get a copy of your background check in California. So I got a portfolio of my background check. And basically what it says is like, she be getting at these white folks. This is where she said.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, I can stand. Y'all want to call me in? We could do a congressional hearing. I will stand on anything I have said.
I appreciate you being just so open and honest, and your voice is just, it's loud. I don't mean like literally. I mean it's loud figuratively. And that's why I really wanted to come sit and talk with you, because just as a black woman doing it, it ain't necessarily easy, and it ain't something that a lot of people celebrate and uplift all the time, so it's like I want to be a part of that, and just on a personal level, knowing you, and it's like I respect your voice.
Thank you.
I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad we got to do this, and I look forward to doing it again one day for sure.
Yes, for sure. Shout out to the G.
Yeah.
Well, there you guys have it.
Yeah, we did it.
No, we did it. This
Clap
was
it
like
up.
6 months in the making, and we did it. Ba-dum-bum.
Yeah. Shout out to all the parents, man.